Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Astral Pet Store. Author by Ancient She. Audio novels by Novelist. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 186, The Checkup. You're not leaving with us. The three of them figured out Su Ping's intention. They sounded surprised. Su Ping replied, I want to go out there and explore more. After all, this is my first time visiting a mysterious realm. It was understandable that Su Ping would want to stay. However, since Ni Chenkong and Guo Yulan had passed away, Yi Chenshin, Luo Guxu and Zhou Jing were no longer in the mood to stay. Besides, considering their strength, entering the mysterious realm again would only mean being close to danger. If they stayed, they would be lingering at the plaza and just looking on. Yi Chenshin had built a shield to isolate their sound. He whispered to Su Ping, "What's your plan about the treasures and materials we harvested from the beasts?" Su Ping thought about it and whispered back, "How about we find some privacy and divide them amongst ourselves?" Yi Chenshin looked at Luo Guxu and Zhou Jing. None of them disagreed. "Sure. Okay. Let's go and have our stuff checked first," Zhou Jing said. There was a group of men in black stationed at the edge of the plaza. They were in charge of checking the stuff taken by teams leaving the realm. All the items the teams found during their explorations in the mysterious realm had to be checked. That was to say, no one could sneak anything out. Those men in black belonged to the behind-the-scenes ruler of Longtai Mountain. This ruler was not a single person, most likely, it was a large group. They weren't worried about opening up the mysterious realm to the public or about anyone sneaking out any treasures. Of course, if some team discovered masterpieces, this group would not rob them. They would use a fair way to buy the masterpiece, maybe with money or with other treasures. In a sense, the exploration teams entering the mysterious realm were just working for others. The actual rare treasures could hardly be taken away. The explorers could only preserve the relatively valuable items. While some of the best treasures could not be taken away, the explorers could trade them for enough money to have a wealthy life or other equally valuable items. Of course, the explorers could also obtain an identity and status that they could not achieve by normal means. As such, while some of the masterpieces had to stay there, there were still many explorers teams willing to go there. After all, the relatively valuable items were already good enough for most people. They would not be willing to keep masterpieces that even titled battle pet warriors longed for in their wildest imaginations. Su Ping, Yi Chenshin, and Luo Guxu were a bit scared about the checkup. They wouldn't hide the astral spirit fruit at the checkpoint. This fruit was not a treasure of the highest grade, it would not catch the attention of titled battle pet warriors. That being said, it would be enticing for those at the upper position of the 9th rank. After taking this fruit, they could reach the peak of the 9th rank. Luck and fortune were needed to move further upward and break the shackles to become a real powerful warrior. Yi Chenshin and Luo Guxu looked at Su Ping. They could pass the check if Su Ping ate the fruit right there. After all, the fruit could not be found if it was in Su Ping's stomach. Even if someone were to find out, it was unlikely that Su Ping could spit it out. Such consumables were the only items that could be taken out easily. But, while Yi Chenshin didn't know the specifics about Su Ping's strength, he was sure that he was not at the 9th rank. Therefore, taking the fruit right then would be a waste. Luo Guxu knew Su Ping better based on what he did at the academy. At the moment, she truly hoped that Su Ping could eat the fruit. Even if he had just reached the 9th rank, the fruit could take him directly to the intermediate position. Time was money for talents like Su Ping. Taking the fruit was worthwhile even if he couldn't make the most of it. Su Ping had thought about it. However, he was at the upper position of the 4th rank and very close to move up to the 5th rank. It would be a waste for him to eat the fruit because he could achieve that small jump with cultivation. Selling it is a good idea, Su Ping thought to himself. He didn't care for this fruit. Taking it once was effective. Eating it twice would not bring him any benefit. Since he had the tree, he could grow more fruit when he went back, to take it when he reached the upper position of the 9th rank. That was the best plan for him. Therefore, the original intention he had for this fruit was to sell it so that he could use the money to upgrade the store. Let's go, Su Ping said calmly. Yi Chenshin and Luo Guxu were puzzled, wondering why Su Ping was acting so casually. Since the fruit belonged to him, they didn't know what he had planned for it, nor could they give him any suggestions. Soon, they arrived at the checkpoint. There was a spacious room at the plaza. Many people in black uniforms were there. Some people in strange clothes were sitting or standing there. All of them were powerful, everyone was a titled battle pet warrior. No one could smuggle anything from that place. Venerable the Blade and other titled battle pet warriors were observing the proceedings. The dragon scale lance inside the mysterious realm could not be monitored. But every corner of the plaza was under strict surveillance. A bearded middle-aged man saw Su Ping walking over. The man with a straight face gave them a look and said, "Please move your backpacks here." This man was at the peak of the 8th rank, one rank away from becoming a titled battle pet warrior. But this one rank meant a world of difference. The titled battle pet warriors could stay there in comfort and only intervene when someone roused trouble. However, this man had to sit at the checkpoint and instruct all those who passed to take out their stuff. He was a man that had to work office hours. Yi Chenshin hesitated for a moment. Eventually, he opened his backpack and poured everything into a white tray on the side. Apart from the prepared food, the only things in his bag were the crystals they had harvested from the beasts. The energy crystals were some lumps found inside the beasts. As energy converged in those lumps, they would transform into something like pebbles. The lumps would no longer be pieces of flesh and blood. A profound energy was concentrated in the crystals. The pebbles appeared to be white. They produced a mysterious feeling. Energy crystals occupied the majority of the space in Yi Chenshin's bag. There were dozens of such energy crystals of various sizes and a few more had been stored in Luo Guxu's bag. The bearded middle-aged man was surprised to see that many energy crystals. To his bigger astonishment, he noticed there were crystals the size of a fist with bright colors. The energy in those crystals was rich. Since the man had checked countless crystals, he could tell right away that those crystals were from 9th rank beasts. There were 6 such crystals. That was to say, this team had killed 6 9th rank beasts. Was that possible? The bearded man was not the only one stunned. Some of the titled battle pet warriors sitting nearby sensed the surge of energy. They looked over in surprise and saw the 9th rank energy crystals. They fixed their eyes on Su Ping and the 3 that were with him. Their surprise deepened when the titled battle pet warriors sensed the strength of the 4. It was evident that none of the 4 were titled battle pet warriors. They were all just advanced battle pet warriors. Of the 4, Su Ping appeared to be the most mysterious. He seemed to be weak, even below the 5th rank. Was Su Ping hiding or was that his true strength? The bearded middle-aged man asked Yi Chenshin, "Did you kill this many beasts?" Yi Chenshin nodded. He noticed the tone of doubt in his words. Yi Chenshin explained, "Our captain and 2 master battle pet warriors killed those beasts. Unfortunately, they passed away." The middle-aged man and those titled battle pet warriors understood. Still, they found something strange. The powerful warriors died but the weaker ones came back. Were those people too lucky or were their captain and the 2 masters too unlucky? "Your bag." The middle-aged man with whiskers pointed to Luo Guxu. She opened her bag at once and poured everything out. There were some energy crystals, 2 were from 9th rank beasts. Apart from those crystals, she had placed some other useful materials harvested from the beasts in her bag. Since they were in a hurry, they had left behind many valuable materials of the beasts, only harvesting the most useful parts. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 187, 1 billion. The bearded middle-aged man was startled. This team had killed quite a number of beasts and most of them had been at the 7th or 8th rank. Some ripples could be felt from some of the materials. The bearded man checked in astonishment. Those materials were from 9th rank beasts. Some scales appeared to be familiar. Those scales are from a beast at the intermediate rank of the 9th rank, the scale bone. A middle-aged titled battle pet warrior moved closer. He, too, was surprised to see those scales. The scale bones were regarded as powerful among all the 9th rank beasts. Given the size of the scale, this scale bone was clearly an adult and at the prime of its strength. Could this team have really killed a beast at the intermediate position of the 9th rank? The other titled battle pet warriors were intrigued by those materials and energy crystals. They stepped over in surprise. The bearded man was stunned by the titled battle pet warrior's words. The former knew that it would be difficult for him to defeat a beast of such tier by himself. Clearly the deceased captain and the 2 masters of the team had been powerful warriors. Another titled battle pet warrior said to Su Ping with a smile, "Could we please check your bag as well?" The man had sensed some rich energy contained in Su Ping's bag. That energy was different from anything else, which he found interesting. Su Ping laid down his bag and poured out the contents. Apart from the food and other sundries, there were energy crystals, materials from the beasts, the astral spirit fruit and the soul lantern. The titled battle pet warriors took a look. They didn't care about the energy crystals and the materials. Those items were valuable but they had seen enough of them. But that astral spirit fruit and the soul lantern had caught their attention. A titled battle pet warrior with a scratch mark on his face said, "Where have I seen this fruit before?" A lady with a well-developed and curvy body thought of something. She looked away from the fruit and asked Su Ping, "This fruit seems to be tasty. Can you sell it to me?" Su Ping raised his eyebrows. He answered with a question, "What are you going to pay me with? What do you want? Money, or treasures?" The lady believed Su Ping intended to sell the fruit, which made her even happier. Su Ping smiled. "How much are you willing to pay?" "How about 1 million? The lady replied calmly. Su Ping grinned. "I can think about it if you add 3 more zeros." 3 zeros. The lady's smile vanished. A trace of coldness went past her face. "Listen, this is just a measly fruit. I just want to have a taste. 1 million is a high enough number, don't let such a good chance slip away." The others sneered at Su Ping, thinking that he was dying to make money. They didn't know what fruit this was. But even a rare kind of fruit would be sold for 100 million, at most. Su Ping wondered whether the lady was playing dumb, but he wasn't in the mood to find out. Later on, when he placed the fruit in the scanning machine, it would compare against all the references in the database. The machine could tell what fruit it was anyways. Su Ping replied at once, "This is an astral spirit fruit. I don't know if you've heard about it. Anyone below the 9th rank can raise by 1 position after consuming the fruit. The fruit works best for people at the upper position of the 9th rank. They can reach the peak directly. Now, tell me, do you think 1 billion is too much for this fruit? An astral spirit fruit? Are you serious?" When Su Ping mentioned the name, astral spirit fruit, the titled battle pet warriors were stunned stiff. Trying to improve their strength was on their minds at all times. They were naturally aware of this fruit's existence, which was in fact quite famous. But this fruit was hard to find, they couldn't even find it in some unknown areas of the space fractures. However, this fruit right in front of them was indeed that mysterious and rare astral spirit fruit. The lady's expression changed. She seemed to be enraged. She didn't know that Su Ping could recognize this fruit. The astral spirit fruit, well. The titled battle pet warriors could not keep their eyes off the fruit. This was something that could help them improve by 1 position directly. For a similar attainment, they would have to spend years in cultivation while using rare treasures that contained rich energy. Feng, so you had already recognized this thing. No wonder you were willing to pay 1 million for it. A man with short hair made fun of her. She wanted to buy the astral spirit fruit with just 1 million. Su Ping would have made a terrible deal if he had not known this. That curvy lady named Feng snorted. "I would have offered 100 million straight away if I had recognized it." The others sneered at her in secret. That was a very poor lie. They just regarded her reply as a joke. Nobody took her explanation seriously. I want this. A learned and refined man who had remained silent until then interposed. 1 billion, just like you said. The others looked at this man. They weren't surprised by his move. Brother Xuanhuan, how generous you are. I might have thought twice about the 1 million if it were for me. I don't have any problems with Brother Xuanhuan buying this fruit. You'll reach the upper position once you consume it. After some years of cultivation, you may be able to catch up to Venerable the Blade. Don't make fun of me, the refined man said. Then he turned to Su Ping and continued, I'm King Xuanhuan. I believe you are from Longjiang Base City, right? Quite the coincidence, I'm from Longjiang Base City as well. King Xuanhuan. Luo Guxu and Yi Chenshin were taken aback by the name. Yi Chenshin whispered, are you the warrior titled Poetaholic, from the Qin family? Yes, I am. King Xuanhuan smiled. He admitted it. Luo Guxu and Yi Chenshin looked at each other speechlessly. Luo Guxu had a friendly feeling about this man. Mr. Qin, I work at the same academy as Qin Yuanfeng. I've heard so much about you from Mr. Qin Yuanfeng. He said that you are the man he respects the most. Qin Xuanhuan looked at her in surprise. Then he put on a soft smile. I'm glad we have some connections. Yuanfeng is also from my generation. It's a pity that he lacks some talent, but he does work hard. I believe he's about to become a titled battle pet warrior, isn't he? Luo Guxu felt embarrassed. At the academy, Qin Yuanfeng was a man of both noble character and high prestige. He was admired by many students. However, going by Qin Xuanhuan's standards, he found Qin Yuanfeng lacking. The students would have been left dumbstruck if they had heard this. Mr. Qin Yuanfeng should be there soon. He's in the mysterious realm. Didn't you see him? Luo Guxu asked. Qin Xuanhuan shook his head. I have to stay and guard the security check here. But since he's here, I'll see him when he comes out. Of course. Luo Guxu nodded. She was inferior to Qin Xuanhuan, both in age and strength. The other titled battle pet warriors saw that Qin Xuanhuan was catching up with Su Ping and the others. They knew that they could no longer have the fruit even if they wanted to by this point. Qin Xuanhuan went on, who's in charge here? Since the fruit has been revealed, I suggest you sell it. This fruit is quite rare, even I would have to consume it right after I buy it. Otherwise, some people may cast their greedy eyes on it. Luo Guxu understood this. Greedy people were worse than thieves. Mr. Su made the biggest contribution when we obtained the fruit. He will make the call. Luo Guxu turned to Su Ping. In her eyes, there was some admiration. She revered Qin Xuanhuan, but apart from reverence, she had some admiration for Su Ping. After all, Su Ping had become quite powerful at his young age. In the future, he could have an even more promising future. Qin Xuanhuan was surprised by her words and the look in her eyes. He realized that Mr. Su was the youngest member on the team, Su Ping. Why was it the weakest and youngest person on the team calling the shots? Astral Pet Store. Chapter 188. Astral Telekinesis. Are you sure you'll trust this, well, young man? Qin Xuanhuan questioned while carefully inspecting Su Ping from the outside. He had cooperated with many famous families and clans in Longjiang City, yet he couldn't remember ever seeing Su Ping anywhere. Even while traveling outside, he more or less kept in touch with the city. No one had ever mentioned a Su family suddenly gaining fame and power. Luo Guxu nodded. Professor Su is my colleague. Don't let his looks fool you though, he's already a titled warrior. What did you say? Both Qin Xuanhuan and the other titled warriors in the room went wide-eyed. Even Yi Chenshin and Zhou Jing were wondering whether their teammate had lost her mind. As a matter of fact, even Su Ping himself didn't expect Luo Guxu to overstate his strength like this. Must be my astral telekinesis skill, she saw it and overestimated my level. Su Ping wanted to clarify the truth, but didn't do it on second thought, for he didn't want to reveal his astral telekinesis skill to anyone. Besides, he was at an advantage if people saw him as a titled warrior, this would help him sell his items faster. Thinking about this, he remained quiet and decided to keep up with the show. Yi Chenshin tugged Luo Guxu's arm. Are you sure? Mr. Su is a titled warrior. I am. Luo Guxu looked determined. I saw his power with my own eyes. He can fly. You know only titled warriors are capable of that, right? Fly. The others were shocked yet again. But how is that possible when he's only, Zhou Jing looked unconvinced. He's what you call a born genius, perhaps. Luo Guxu sighed in awe. Su Ping listened to all the flattery while feeling a bit embarrassed. Qin Shuhai was checking Su Ping's aura again. He had already confirmed that Su Ping was only at the 5th rank or so, which didn't quite add up. No one with a sound mind would take a 5th rank burden on a mysterious realm expedition, since that would get everyone killed. If Su Ping was truly a titled battle pet warrior, that meant he had enough to become the final champion of the Elite League at such an age. Everyone present had realized that. Qin Shuhai, as the young master of the Qin family, was already a peerless genius rarely found in human history. He had reached the 7th rank at the age of 20, which was a miracle on its own. Su Ping's case was downright impossible in their view. Naturally, many people present were doubtful of Luo Guxu's claim. They thought Luo Guxu was using such an excuse to scare off coveting folks so she could take their loot away. Or perhaps she had simply lost her mind. I must say I've never seen such a budding boy with such supreme aptitude. Lady Feng gave Su Ping an alluring look. Supposing it's true, then this little handsome boy is not any less talented than Venerable the Blade in his early years. Can you perhaps show us what you can do? Yeah, I want to see it. Another man followed up. Su Ping raised an eyebrow but didn't respond. Someone sneered as if their conjecture had been proven right. Hey, Mr. Su, right. Come on, show us your tricks. You don't need to move around in the sky or something. Getting your feet off the ground for a few seconds will do. Do it, do it. Su Ping gave them an amused smile. Why would I listen to you? What? It's not like flying right now will hurt you. You claim to be a titled warrior, so why aren't you proving it to us? He's just a lying clown, that's why. Since the buyer of the astral spirit fruit had already been determined, the other titled warriors didn't hold back and insulted Su Ping. Speaking of the fruit, they suddenly noticed that it was floating in midair, instead of lying where it should be. Will this do? Said Su Ping, as he pointed a finger at the flying fruit. The sight had silenced everyone who was questioning him just then. Using astral power to levitate objects without touching them was indeed a sign that suggested a titled warrior's level. But I just left the city for a few years. Qin Shuhai couldn't believe his eyes. Where did this guy spring from? Su Ping controlled the fruit to glide past everyone's noses to shut him up. The display just told everyone that he was not only talented, but was also blessed with abundant resources. A natural genius could not grow up without help after all. Yi Chenshin and Zhou Jing stared at Su Ping with mouths agape. They would have never believed that the strongest member in the team was not their captain, but a young man they had been underestimating at the beginning. Both Su Ping and his pets were top class. Qin Shuhai recovered from the shock first and flashed a friendly smile. That was marvelous, Mr. Su. May I have the honor of knowing where you hail from? I'd make sure to pay you a visit when I find the chance. Su Ping lowered the fruit. Shall we get to our business first? Qin Shuhai wanted to blame all the careless people who had displeased Su Ping, but tried not to show it on his face. Of course, Mr. Su. $1 billion as promised. I can make the payment right away. Sure. Su Ping nodded casually. As common people would see it, selling the fruit for money was a very bad trade. If the fruit couldn't be used, it could be exchanged for other treasures. To Su Ping, however, earning extra cash was more crucial to the shop. Whereas titled battle pet warriors didn't usually require money on a daily basis, he needed a lot of it. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 189, The Title Leaderboard. Mr. Shuhai truly is affluent, both in body and mind. He can part with 1 billion like it's nothing. A man grew a bit jealous when seeing Qin Shuhai paying such a big sum without much of a thought. More people nodded to agree. Even for titled warriors, 1 billion was no small number. They always needed large amounts of cash on various occasions, such as this one, where they had to buy important treasures from others. If they happened to see multiple items they liked, they'd soon exhaust their savings and start selling essentials to make up for urgent needs. I don't mean to brag, but know that I own a 2-star VIP account at the Astral Union Bank. I can make any immediate payments below 10 billion, said Xuanhuan. The Astral Union Bank had offices and subdivisions throughout different planets where Federation colonies were established. It was famous for their efficiency. If people were to use a local bank to transfer such an amount of money, they'd need to go through a lot of burdensome processes. Su Ping nodded, deploying a simple astral barrier around them and messaging his account number using his phone. Xuanhuan was quite surprised to see Su Ping showing him an ordinary bank account issued by a common bank in Longjiang City. Titled Battle Pet warriors were usually allowed to apply for VIP accounts managed by the Union Bank, which were way more convenient in many aspects. Although, he didn't question this matter. He simply entered the account and made the transfer. Even if he accidentally sent the money to the wrong recipient, he had many ways to force a small bank to transfer the money back. Su Ping checked his phone and saw the lovely zeros shown behind his balance. It seemed everything was in order. Thank you very much, Mr. Su. Xuanhuan smiled contentedly. Likewise. Luo Guxu watched the whole matter and almost felt sad. For a settler, raising a billion would imply taking on many difficult missions. And even if she could earn the money, she had to stay alive after all those missions to enjoy the fruits of her labor. The work of settlers didn't appear as rewarding as people thought. Are you selling this lantern as well, Mr. Su? Xuanhuan pointed at the soul lantern nearby. No, sorry. To Su Ping, the lantern was way more important than the fruit. Although the other people probably couldn't see it. Xuanhuan didn't know what the lantern was. He sensed peculiar energy signatures from it and wanted to try his luck. Although he was disappointed in the end. My family will always keep its doors open for you, Mr. Su Ping. Please be sure to pay us a visit in the future. Xuanhuan tried befriending Su Ping as he always did when dealing with influential people. Su Ping nodded slightly. Next, it was Zhou Jing's turn to empty his backpack, which mostly contained more energy crystals and monster body parts. Naturally, the scales of the flame blood dragon drew a lot of attention. Although, they couldn't tell the rank of the dragon just by looking at the scales, which meant there wasn't much to say. Bit by bit, the inspectors used a specialized device to accurately tell the origins of all the crystals and materials, as well as the properties of the treasures the team had brought back. Su Ping was quite surprised to see the device giving a detailed explanation regarding the lantern as well. As far as he knew, the lantern was an ancient item which hadn't been mass-produced. He had thought modern devices would have been unable to recognize it. Xuanhuan saw through his thought process and explained, we shipped the tool from the outside. Instead of relying on a database that needs constant updates, the device can analyze the inner structures of all items and work out their general design and effects accordingly. You don't find many things that can keep secrets here. By the way, this thing might be small, but each one costs almost $1 trillion to manufacture. I think there are only a few of them currently in service on this planet. Su Ping nodded in acknowledgement. Outside, probably meant other planets. Let's see. No Class A objects detected. Xuanhuan read the result with his co-workers. Mr. Su, you're free to take him away. The astral spirit fruit was considered restricted and would have to be reported to the higher-ups. Though there was no need for that since Xuanhuan had already bought it. Such an action was against the rules, but it was usually, no complaint, no case. Besides, an astral spirit fruit was still not considered to be a forbidden class of merchandise. Taking it would not get Xuanhuan behind bars. As for actual class or items, the inspectors present didn't have the right to decide where to put them. They would have to wait for the authorities to arrange them. Or in most cases, fight over them. The team sighed in relief since the inspection had ended swimmingly. A titled warrior spoke to Su Ping. Mr. Su, I see you brought a lot of energy crystals. Could you sell some of them to me? The man tried to be polite after witnessing Su Ping's level. It was up to Su Ping's team to decide what to do with the crystals after the checkpoint, so he had to show some manners at the very least. Tyranny and forced trading were not allowed there. Su Ping shook his head and rejected the proposal. He already had enough money and he wanted to use the crystals as pet food. The speaker stepped away, disappointed. When Su Ping's team left the inspection room, Lady Feng looked at Qin Shuhai and said to him, "Hey, since when did Longjiang City have such a young rising star?" Qin Shuhai shook his head with a bitter smile. "No idea. He seems to barely be 20 or so. A titled battle pet warrior, he'll soon make it into the top 10 of the title leaderboard, no doubt. And if he's lucky, he might become a legendary pet warrior." Lady Feng frowned and glanced at Qin Shuhai's fruit. "Top 10, maybe, but definitely not legendary. That stuff asks for more than good talent and luck. You know, since he was willing to sell that fruit, chances are he ate one already or he found more than one in the mysterious realm. If he became a titled battle pet warrior by eating an astral spirit fruit, then he's not that good." Qin Shuhai wanted to agree, since Su Ping's cheap bank account also told him that Su Ping didn't have an impressive background. But still, reaching that level at such an age was already a monumental feat. At least Qin Shuhai had to admit that Su Ping was way ahead of him. Gods, I really should have paid more attention to what was happening around my home. Well, the Supremacy League is just after the Elite League, right? Another titled warrior joined them. "With this fruit, I believe you can get a good result in the end, Mr. Qin." Qin Shuhai shook his head. "I doubt it. You know well what the Supremacy League is like. It's a stage for all kinds of scary freaks. An upper 9th rank warrior like me will only win some matches to eventually be knocked out. Don't sell yourself short, Mr. Qin." People cheered. "Yeah, we'll all root for you." Qin Shuhai sighed in frustration, though the gleam of ambition never vanished from his eyes. The Supremacy League was a gathering for all the titled warriors around the world. It was an important event where he had to participate. He checked the astral spirit fruit safely stored it. After leaving the inspection room, Su Ping and the other members found a vacant spot outside and placed an astral barrier around them so they could talk in private. "Let's distribute the remaining energy crystals and materials," Su Ping offered. "But how do we do it?" Yi Chenshin asked. He had just learned that Su Ping was a titled battle pet warrior and such a notion was barely sinking in. Out of instinct, he asked for Su Ping's opinion. Zhou Jing felt anxious as he waited for his decision. He knew he was mostly a stranger to Su Ping. There would be nothing he could do if Su Ping wished to take all the loot. Su Ping considered, "We'll divide everything 4-6. I'm 4. You guys decide how to share the rest, all right." That surprised everyone. It was quite a generous offer. Luo Guxu spoke up, "Professor Su, we were able to take back so many things thanks to you. I mean, you and the captain handled most of the kills while we only watched from behind. We can't have such a big portion." Yi Chenshin agreed. Their captain used to divide their rewards similarly, although Ni Chenkong always took the 6. Deep down, Yi Chenshin would gladly accept the outcome and have his share for free. But since Luo Guxu brought it up, he thought it proper to at least show some courtesy. "What's your opinion then?" asked Su Ping. We can follow our old rules, meaning, we take 4 while you take 6. Is that okay? Sure. Su Ping nodded. Delighted, Yi Chenshin and Zhou Jing quickly allocated everything accordingly. "And here's the money I got from selling the astral spirit fruit," Su Ping continued. "How much should I give you?" Luo Guxu was shocked, as she never expected to earn anything from that transaction. "Well, you seized the fruit all by yourself, Professor Su. I mean, we would all be dead if not for you. We already took enough. Please, you can keep the money." Yi Chenshin nodded along. His conscience told him that was the right course of action. Since the other members said so, Zhou Jing had to obey their decision as well. Su Ping gladly accepted the result. In truth, he didn't wish to share the money with anyone. It was just that, he found it necessary to pay a price to quench unnecessary trouble. He didn't want people to hold grudges against him just because he took too much. Okay, the fruit is all on me. You can have this sword. He handed over Old Mo's sword to the others. Yi Chenshin accepted it. We'll later decide who keeps it. If no one wants it, we'll sell it for merit points and evenly divide the income. Sure thing. Luo Guxu and Zhou Jing did not reject the proposal. Since the final work was done, Zhou Jing and Yi Chenshin said their goodbyes and prepared to leave. Luo Guxu wanted to accompany Su Ping for a bit longer, but Su Ping didn't let her. Yi Chenshin saw Su Ping's action and silently complained in his mind. Man, guess that's how you lure a woman slowly. Left with no choice, Luo Guxu left the mysterious realm together with her team. Su Ping placed everything he had gained inside his backpack and headed to the Dragon Tower. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 190, Material for the Solar Bulwark. Although there were fewer people on the Dragon Tower, the place was still bustling. When Su Ping arrived, he overheard people discussing. It was such a surprise to see that the Tang girl reached the 6th dragon bone this time. Well, in a few more years, reaching the 7th and 8th dragon bones will be a piece of cake for her. I stopped at the 3rd dragon bone. Those talents are stunning. Comparisons are odious. I heard that reaching the 9th dragon bone is quite beneficial. But for us, that is an extravagant hope. I suppose that those from the big families will be the ones able to reach the 9th dragon bone, sooner or later. Su Ping was surprised to hear that reaching the 6th dragon bone was considered as the focus of everyone's attention. Which is the highest dragon bone someone has ever reached? Su Ping asked a passerby. This man didn't expect this question from a young man, but he didn't belittle him, nor did he react impatiently. Instead, the man checked Su Ping up and down. The young people that could enter the mysterious realm were most likely from powerful backgrounds. Only a few would go there merely for fun. People say there was once a person who reached the 7th dragon bone. But that is just a story and no one can prove it. At the moment, guys like Tang Ruyan and Feng Tianming can only reach the 6th dragon bone, the man answered. Su Ping breathed in relief. That was to say, those people had a long way to go when it came to reach the 9th dragon bone. The real test started at the 7th dragon bone. Only those who had a below average or above aptitude could survive the 7th dragon bone. To reach the 8th dragon bone, they would have to be at least average in aptitude. His Inferno Dragon was only able to reach the 8th dragon bone. At the 9th dragon bone, they would have to be above average in aptitude at the very least. The dragon bones had been set up by the old Dragon King to test the potential legacy recipients' abilities. From the 4th to the 6th level would require the hopefuls to be advanced battle pet warriors. People would have to have abilities equal to the 9th rank at the 6th dragon bone. But from the 7th dragon bone onward, the challenges would be adjusted according to the actual abilities of those who tried their luck in the test. At the 7th dragon bone, if people who came were at the 7th rank, they would encounter an 8th or a 9th rank dragon soul. But if the warriors were at the 9th rank, they would meet the soul of a beast king. That was why those aiming for the test were the young and talented people. The older generation could pass the first 6 dragon bones easily, but it would be hard for them to pass the other dragon bones. After all, even the strongest of all, the 9th rank titled battle pet warriors would find it difficult to face the soul of a beast king. They would practically have to fight a beast king level dragon. That was for the 7th rank. Above the 8th and the 9th rank, titled battle pet warriors might even encounter beings stronger than beast kings. Su Ping had yet to reach the 5th rank. Once he reached the 9th dragon bone, he would encounter a 9th ranked dragon soul. But he could solve the problem with the Inferno Dragon and the little skeleton. After all, as a battle pet warrior, pets were a part of his powers. That being said, if he were to summon pets for the fight when the Inferno Dragon and the little skeleton were in action, they could not leverage Su Ping's strength. That was because of the restraints of the contract. Su Ping was the master and the pets were the subordinates. The subordinates could not overrule the masters. The masters could not fully control the subordinates. Su Ping could borrow his pet's strength, and see them as a part of himself, but it did not work the other way around. The best Su Ping could do was to use some augmentation skills to help his pets. Gazing at the towering dragon bones, Su Ping thought to himself, she's already the center of attention just by having reached the 6th dragon bone. If I take the challenge now, I suppose I will alert many big potatoes. He made up his mind a moment later. He decided to return later, to take the challenge before he had to leave. The current priority was to explore the dragon scale lands. Su Ping left the dragon tower and went to the entrance portal. Many teams were still lined up there. Some teams were recruiting new members, but few would accept such offers. Anything could happen inside a mysterious realm. Cannibalism was a common occurrence when rare treasures were uncovered. In such cases, the teams would get rid of the temporary outside help before they divided the treasures among their original members. Su Ping threw a casual look and went to the back of the line. Not long afterward, some teams noticed that Su Ping was alone, so they went to invite him to join. Su Ping turned them down. He wasn't interested. Soon, it was Su Ping's turn to enter the portal. He paid the 1 million fee and stepped into the formation. On his mind emerged the image of the 109 dragon scale lands which formed the shape of a dragon. Su Ping tried to recall the dragon scale lands he had already explored in the cultivation site. He considered his choices and chose one in the central region. The cultivation site did not number the dragon scale lands. Therefore, Su Ping had to try his luck there, in real life. In worst-case scenarios, he would have to visit all the dragon scale lands. However, that meant that he would have to pay over 100 million just for the teleportation fee. He selected the land and gradually disappeared from the portal. He was in a desolate desert when he reappeared. Is that so? Su Ping raised his eyebrows. One look around and he quickly recognized the place. At the same time, the locations of the treasures and the roadmap came to mind. Did I choose the wrong place? Never mind. I remember there are 2 valuable items here. This is parcel 48, I think, a land that has already been explored. I wonder if the items are still here. While Su Ping was thinking, he summoned the purple python, the inferno dragon, and the dark dragon hound. He sat down on the purple python's head. Some scales on its head stood up and protected Su Ping within like a shield. Let's go. Su Ping told the dark dragon hound and the inferno dragon to lead the way. They were heading directly to the locations of the valuable treasures. The sand was filling the sky. They met a few beasts along the way. Half an hour later, Su Ping had searched all the locations. All the treasures had been taken away. None was left behind. Besides, he noticed there were only a few tracks from the teams. It seemed that the explorers would usually choose lands that had yet to be explored. I have just wasted 1 million. Su Ping was speechless. He had to teleport back to the plaza and then travel to another land. That was a lesson for him. This time, he chose an unexplored land. That was number 52. In total, 57 of those lands had been explored, but they were not following the number. For example, number 1 and number 8 remained to be explored. Su Ping smelled a pungent smell of blood as soon as he arrived. It seemed that some teams had fought there. He summoned the purple python and the dark dragon hound at once. Su Ping stayed within the protection on the purple python's head in case of a surprise attack. Then, he summoned the inferno dragon to lead the way with the dark dragon hound. They arrived at the source of the smell of blood. Su Ping saw many dead bodies on the ground and a square coffin. This coffin was square, clean, and neat. One look and Su Ping could tell that it had been made by a pet of the stone family. The deceased included both beasts and explorers. Su Ping didn't linger in that place. The road map and the treasure map of that land emerged on his mind. He immediately dashed toward a location with a valuable treasure. Along the way, he took detours around potential beast lairs. He soon arrived at the location he had chosen. The dark dragon hound sniffed around when he arrived. No smell of humans was found. Su Ping was relieved. Let's go. Su Ping commanded the Inferno Dragon and the Dark Dragon Hound to charge in. Su Ping had had experience exploring this land in the cultivation site. He managed to obtain the treasure not long afterward. It was a helmet that could fend off spirit attacks and could be considered as a rare article. In usual conditions, the shields and helmets could only defend against physical or energy attacks. Those accessories were more common, even though their selling prices were high. Su Ping wore the helmet at once in case of emergencies. He would place the helmet in his storage space to smuggle it out. I remember there's an area with underground lava. Su Ping remembered he could find a kind of material he needed for solar bulwark cultivation in this land. That thought excited him. Without further ado, he turned around and hurried to that location with his 3 pets. End of the chapter. Astral Pets Store will be read in 5 chapters for every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.